A warm welcome on a sunny winter's day to a Podful Saints on the 3rd of December 2025, a nice sunny Wednesday. We reflect on the glory of last night's defeat in a minute, but before that, myself, Jake, hello Jake, and Lee, hello Lee, will ponder an excellent win last Saturday at Chatham Town.
Wow, what an intro. Let's get going.
Yeah. Right, last Saturday, right, as we said, we were down in Kent, but some of us were. Other people obviously got better things to do. They went out and got a life, which I can't believe looking at them. Away to third in the table, Chatham Town, coming on the back of a 4-3 defeat at home to Burgess Hill Town, when we looked a little bit porous at the back, it must be said. Nice to get a few goals. I think everybody went there fearing the worst. But what we got was probably our best league display of a season. First half defensively, and the second half in an attacking way. I felt in the first half, Chatham Town, they played into our hands in a way. They saw plenty of ball around our penalty area, but they didn't go for goal. They were too happy to keep possession, try and wear us down that way, and the modern game just bore everybody to tears before finally putting the ball in the box. And we defended superbly against it. We restricted them to precious few chances in that first half. They equalised a minute before half-time, and they had another chance to take the lead in that short time after that. But before then, we'd been very comfortable. We're taking a lead on 7 minutes through Zane Banton. Lovely finish. Nice little build-up as well. And the ball going, I think, under the keeper in the end. But it doesn't matter. It went in. Nice goal. And we were comfortable. The second half, we took it to them. And their defence, it just crumbled. The goalkeeper was a nightmare. What was his name? Henry Molyneux. Well, he just kept throwing the ball or kicking the ball straight to us. Well, thanks, Henry. You're not on our payroll, but we'll take that. And that just kept putting them under pressure. Yeah, Henry Molyneux, he's not going to keep the walls from the door, is he? So,
really?
And we took full advantage of it. A second goal from Sam Smart, the free kick, which was quite superb. Where's he been all season with that sort of free kick? Absolutely brilliant. The third goal, the new bloke, Kieran Petrie, he very lively, looked at it when he came on. See what you two think. You had your first viewing of him last night. And then the fourth goal, Leo Sery. He's playing with so much confidence around the box at the moment. He just thought he'd have a go one there, stuck it right in the corner. Keeper went full length, couldn't get it. Excellent goals. We could have had more. It was ridiculous. They were being opened up so easily. But I think they brought it on themselves. I say that first half, if they'd done what other sides have done to us recently, which is be more direct around the box, they would have had a lot more chances and they would have probably profited from it a lot better. But full credit to our defence. We did well in that first half Saturday, and it laid the foundation for what was to follow. And to follow, did either of you two manage to follow it during the afternoon?
I can't gather whether you're happy with this result or not, Dave. There's a lot of sort of contradiction in there, mate. I think it's a result that nobody saw coming. I think that's fair to say. We were very sort of optimistic, but, that's probably about it when we did our predictions last week. I did follow it. I've seen the highlights. The movement looked good. I think, which is reiterating what you were saying. Everyone looked really sharp and we broke down play extremely well. But again, I mean, where's that come from? And you look at the people who you've mentioned in that, Smart contributing as well, which has been long overdue. I think, would I be right in surmising that is the tempo? Oh, crikey! That is the tempo that we need to adopt for every game, or do we not? Would we sort of not get away with it on every given time?
It got away with it. It didn't even get away with it. We bossed it with a good, positive performance. It was clear Gary McCann must have had a few words with the team after the Burgess Hill Town defeat, because we looked at a totally different side from the off last Saturday. Positive, determined. We were going to win every ball. Well, we didn't, of course, but that was the attitude. And Sam Smart, he mentioned, by far his best game of the season. To be honest, there's nothing to beat. if he's got to play at that level every day. Last night he went back to where normally is one good game every 22, 23. But no, that's not good enough. That's not what we want. We've carried him this season, I'm afraid to say. He's one player a lot of people thought was really going to stand out, but I don't think he's shone. He showed what everybody believes he can do last Saturday, and he's got to do it more often. And when he passes the ball, don't keep doing what he always does. Looks down at the ground. Stay alive. Stay with it. He looks down at the ground. I don't know why. So stay more in tune. Because at last he showed what he can do. And
what was different then in terms of Saturday to the previous, however many games we've played so far?
The performance was just positive.
Right.
The whole team gelled as one. It looks, you think Gary's really got hold of them after the Burgess Hill game and got them as a team, and it was most impressive. Chatham maybe helped because they were so weak at the back on the day. It must have been an off day for them. You look at their goals against, they don't let 12 in before Saturday. So it must have just been one of those days. They had an absolute off day. We hit peak form and it came together all at the right time. And are you still awake, Jake?
Yes, just about. Yeah, it's a great result. I wasn't watching the game. I was receiving the updates, and frankly, I thought people were winding me up. When I saw the scoreline 4-1 at the end, I was like, I know, but yeah. I thought, what on earth has happened here? But great result, great display, and watching the highlights back. It was just great to see that positive attacking intent, the link-up play that we've all touched upon so far. That's exactly what we've been crying out for from this City team, isn't it? And it has been lacking up until since the last couple of weeks in certain games. But up until that point, we hadn't really displayed much going forward. And obviously, we've shown now we do have that talent in those final areas when teams sort of maybe let us exploit them. But yeah, great result. And that coming away from that in the evening, I thought, and I think a lot of Saints fans thought, right, another decent win under Gary. And this could be a bit of a statement victory as we look to start to move up the table. No spoilers, but that didn't last long. But that was at least that sort of positivity that I think a lot of Saints fans were taking away from that on Saturday.
Somebody made a very good point during the game Saturday. I think it was Tim.
Is it Tim?
Yeah.
I don't know how it could be Tim, but I'm sure it was him. Somebody must have fed him. We lost Alex Ward with injury just before half-time. And with our main focal point taken off, we had to change the way we played, perhaps, going forward. And maybe not having just a big target man up there meant we could play somewhere different. The new guy came on, looked lively, and that worked to our benefit, maybe.
Yeah, I think we do have the players that can make that work. It's just the formation, the shape, and maybe that confidence in themselves. The new lad came on, did well. I think that was a bit of a surprise signing on the Friday. But I think it's really important to see him get that goal straight away as well, because we've been crying out for anyone in the forward areas that can score. But we do have the players. And I think one good thing from Saturday is the likes of Leo Sery had that space put on their display and show exactly what they can do. And the way he took his goal was absolutely superb. All brilliant goals. And also Zane Banton, I think against Burgess Hill, wasn't his best display. But to come back up with that goal again on Saturday, I thought was a really good improvement from someone that we know that we need Zane to be firing if we are to achieve anything this season.
He had a much better game Saturday, Jake. You're dead right there. Also, credit to, you mentioned when you guys scoring, to Alex Dyer for being in that position in their box to tee him up. He did really well and got the ball across, and it all led to the goal. Alex, to me, his passing can be a bit wayward. He does give possession away cheaply, but overall, I think he's now blended into the side quite well.
Yeah, I think he has. I think we saw that goal away at Dulwich, didn't we? Which was brilliant.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are. I think he was a big signing in the summer, wasn't he? I think a lot of people thought, right, he's the man to really marshal that midfield, something we've not particularly had for the last 2-3 years. And I think, again, with quite a few experienced players, he didn't start amazingly well this season, but he has stepped up. And I feel like with everything around Culverhouse and Bazza leaving, it almost feels like he's had to step up and become a bit of a leader on the pitch and in that central midfield area, because other players haven't. And particularly with the loss of Riley Scott for injury as well. Again, I think Dyer's had to step up and do a lot of that hard work. But he certainly impressed me. I think it's just the balance of the players maybe alongside in midfield aren't quite still there every game.
This thing about maybe moving away from a big target man up front, we've said all season we need somebody up there with muscle knocking them around. And now we look away from it maybe after Saturday. But then we got 3 goals previous game. Did we have a big man up there? Or day golf injured then? I can't remember. I don't know. Have you got a thought at all on Lee? Which way is the right way to go?
I think the right way, mate, is just, I know this is going to be horrifically cliche, but game by game. I think Jake spoke there about the adaptability of the squad. I think there are times, and we've spoken about this in the past. It's no coincidence the fact that when you put Alex Moore up there with another, things do happen. There are ways and structures that we can play, to get results. And I think sometimes my only concern about the forward positions is that I don't think one up front works when you're playing someone like a Leo Sery or a Jasper, perhaps. You always have to have 2 because of the way we play. We want to get it out wide and get balls into the box. There's no point getting balls into the box if we're being outnumbered every single time, because the quality of our set pieces and delivery this season is actually really, really high. So I think Wall works with another at times, but again, as proven on Saturday, Tash, we changed the shape when we needed to, and we got some traction there, mate. So I think in terms of that, I've got no preference, just as long as we do look threatening, because we've been quite critical of the side when we're just passing ourselves into oblivion, and we, running down blind alleys, and we're not moving the ball anywhere near as quick enough as we should. So I think adaptability is good, and as Jake said, we have got the personnel there. It's just a matter of Gary finding that balance and the best balance that he wants from his players.
It's interesting. Zane's got a few goals this season. I think it's 7 now. Leo Sery's got about 8. They're contributing, but it seems to be goals are coming from all around. We've said we need an ace marksman, somebody who's going to knock in 25 goals if you're going to go for promotion. We don't seem to have that. A few players are chipping in, and our goals for is not that bad in the league anymore. It's up to around about 2 goals a game, which is pretty good. But you don't feel like we're a side full of goals, funny enough.
I know what you mean. I think Leo Sery to have 8 goals, league goals by now, is a pretty good return, really, isn't it, by December? And obviously it's not quite your Sean Jeffers, but considering a lot of people didn't expect anything from him in the summer when we signed him, and he was a bit of an unknown quantity, I think that's quite a good return, really. But those goals are coming from around the team, and we are scoring them. But I think as a combined, really, the defence is letting us down a bit at the minute, and we're letting in goals too easily in the last few weeks. And I think part of that is because of the injury issues. And also, I think you still do need that big main striker that is going to score you a lot of goals to get into their playoff places. Look at the league table. Fine, we are where we are, but there is still that gap that we need to make up at the minute to the top 5 and 6, because that's the aim of the season. And if we don't have that man that you can rely on to get 20 odd goals, then I think it is going to be a struggle this campaign, even if Leo Sery gets somewhat close to that figure. Considering he's not just been a central striker, has he? He's been played left, right, sort of almost everywhere.
Right, the attendance down at Maidstone Road was 1,283. A magnificent turnout from St Albans, it's got to be said. The previous game got 375 against Burgess Hill. It was an absolute nightmare. Nobody saw it coming. The club would have done, because they would have known there were no advanced sales in effect, so they would have seen it coming that day. But the young supporters, the vocal one's basically from Garston, is what I'm told anyway. Were probably at Watford the previous Tuesday. They went down to Chatham on Saturday, and they were quite magnificent. The noise they made throughout was superb. And there's a big stand behind the goal as you go into the ground. And it's ridiculous. It says for home fans only, and yet these matches aren't segregated, so they just stood in one section and some basically saying, if you want to come and chuck hundreds of us out, you try it, mate. And so they stood there and they made all their noise in the first half, a bit harder in the second half. You had to be a bit spread out. But their support that day was superb. And then back to Clarence Park last night, where for about 75 minutes it was like being in the morgue again. There we go. Right, are we done with Chatham or anything else you want to chuck in?
I think you said enough, mate, to be honest with you.
I think so. I feel like we should cherish that victory before we move on to Potter's Bar.
Potter's Bar Town, 10 defeats in 11 games before last night. 10 defeats in 12 now. And nobody saw this coming. 3 idiots on the podcast predicted wins because they're blind and biased. Incredible. You two were there, so you two can talk more about it. But I give credit to Potter's Bar. The way they defended when we were putting them under pressure was superb. They had some big players there. So our crosses, we just weren't winning anything. They dominated in the box. When we did get in shooting positions, they blocked and blocked and blocked. And the keeper, if he had 3 saves to make all night, I'd be surprised. And the goal that beat him, Leo Sery's lovely little deft flick from Harrison Smith's cross, was a beauty. No keeper would have got that. I mean, I think he made a good save shortly after from, Jasper? But beyond that, he had little to do. So credit to them for that. I won't credit their other tactics, which we'll come on to later, which I thought were absolutely shameful. But yeah, which one of you two wants to go with this one?
Go on, Lee.
How do we even compute what has happened last night? It was, given the performance of Chatham, you're thinking, this is Potter's Bar, this could be anything, naive, arrogance, call it whatever you will. I would back you up, Dave, to say that they defended resolutely and at times desperately. But that's what they needed to do. One thing I spoke to someone and they'd signed 6 players that week, and you would imagine the fact that we talk about this magical new manager bounce. Sammy Moore definitely got it out of them last night. They played for each other. But again, I think it was right. So where does this sit, Dave? I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent, so bear with me, people. We lost to London Coney in some Hearts Charity Cup back in 2000. Gorleston is a often mentioned blip on our record in terms of where the teams are in stature and size and relation. Where does that sit? I mean, I know they're in the same league and we have to earn the right to sort of beat these teams, but losing to Potter's Bar, it's got to be seen as a low, right? So, and I think the one thing we would say, does that result, is that still the same result if Bostwick and James don't go off so early? We've had to basically sort of, just trying to mend and make do in terms of the back, because that was a massive turning point in the game, right?
I'll come on to that in a minute. But Potter's Bar standing, I think you've got to take it. They are on a par with us. That's where we are. We can no longer say we are the big boys. You are the smaller boys in Hertfordshire. Let's face it, when they came to Clarence Park in the Hearts Charity Cup the other year, they played us off the park. We beat them 2-1. Absolute fluke. We didn't deserve it. So they're there on merit. Even when we won 4-2 down at their place earlier this season, 2 goals in the first few minutes of either half put us in control. But they had long stretches of that game when they could have turned it.
It was 6-6, mate, couldn't it? Let's face it. It could have been 6-6.
It could. Yeah, you're dead right. The injuries, we'll come on to that in a minute. I'll let you go, Jake, and your quick summary on last night.
Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, I think that's fair. For Potter's Bar really did defend well, but at times it was sort of like the Alamo, wasn't it? I think Matt turned around to me at one point. He said they can't defend like this for 90 minutes. So that was about 10 minutes into the second half. But they did. And to be fair, as good as they were defensively, I thought we were poor in the final third. The quality of ball into the box wasn't great, apart from the goal. We sort of looked like we lacked some ideas again. A lot of our crosses were sort of looped or floaty in, but we didn't have anyone there to actually win that because we were missing a larger striker like an Alex Wall, I thought. Someone as a pinpoint central area to bounce players off of. I think without those, we really struggled. The final third, I thought we just really struggled to break them down. And I thought we just almost our own enemies again in that sense from Tuesday.
So everything I've just said previously about the quality of deliveries and the quality of the crosses, you've just pissed on. But basically, brilliant, good.
But I thought it was a genuine problem last night with the quality, at least.
Yeah. It was, and you mentioned loopy crosses, but so many of our crosses went too long. So surely the coaches, it's their job. Tactically, you set yourself up. You have a man out wide. So if a cross goes too long, you've got somebody who can get round there and get that ball. It's like the nonsense of the goal kicks. Now everybody goes over in one half of the pitch towards touchline. The pitch is about 112 yards wide. No, it's not 112 yards long. 60 yards wide. Why are we only using a 30-yard bit? Stretch for opposition. Corners, everybody back. Credit again to Potter's Bar. They didn't. They left one up every time. So that takes at least 2 defenders out, and the third one won't be far away. Why are we blinkered? We just chuck everybody back. So ball gets half cleared, back it comes. For goodness sake, doesn't take Einstein to work that one out. I just think, yeah, you're right. We let ourselves down with delivery sometimes. We were toothless up front last night. The complete opposite from Saturday when we were lethal. A real head scratcher for Gary trying to sort that one out. Because he didn't have a big target man. He left, what's his name, on the bench until, when did he come on? 68, Harrison Smith, much earlier than usual. So he's back in favour. And he did well to set the goal up. But as a goal threat, he was no goal threat again, sadly. Whether that's his fault or the delivery into him, probably a bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, I think we blow hot and cold. Again, this is the second Tuesday match in a row now where we've just not performed on any level at all. And we've let ourselves down with just sloppy mistakes at the back and the fact we're not really imposing ourselves. So how can you go from a performance like Chatham then to last night? I think we do have to sort of touch upon the fact that Gary had to reshift the whole back line because, I mean, the fact is that, Bostwick's hamstrings, I know, they're made out of balsa wood really now, aren't they? He's got to that age. And the fact that Jack James had a horrific injury, it seemed he was down an age. And for Jack James to stay down that long, he's hurt. And I think straight after that, there was a bit of sort of like shifting around. And I think we struggled from there. But then we got into the break. They had a good sit down, a good chat. They had a big old sort of like, sort out about who's playing where. And the formation came out and we were a bit more balanced. We were a bit more composed. And then we took the game to Potter's Bar. But again, with their second goal, you're looking at it, Dave, and there's always that little thing in the back of your mind where if they break with any sort of pace, and the amount of space they had when they did go forward was absolutely shocking. Jake said it, we are letting ourselves down. We do so much hard work to get ourselves back into games, and yet again, we found one thing about the quality of the possession and the quality of the final ball.
That first goal, excellent save by Magnus from the header. But then Damaray Anyadike, that's near enough for me. He headed in the rebound. Do you say, where were we? Why didn't we get in there? It's probably just one of those things. The ball went straight to him. It could have gone anywhere off Magnus's hand. It went straight to the blokes. We had defenders around him. Unfortunately, not one of them in front of him to stop him getting that header. What is more worrying is their second goal on the break. When at the time when everybody's expecting us to get the winner, we got level 4 minutes earlier. I should think even the Potter's Bar fans were expecting St Albans are going to go on and win this now. What happened? They get a breakaway. And was it number 11, was it? Nanakayi. Nice finish. Magnus, from my clip, unfortunately, is half blocked by the player, but he didn't seem to make himself big enough. It'd be interesting to see the proper highlights. But had he squared the ball instead of shot, they had 3 players unmarked goal side of our defenders. What on earth were we doing? We just switched off completely. And Potter's Bar, again, they were prepared to go and have a go and try and win this game rather than just sit back and hold out for however long it was left.
Yeah, and it's the switching off at key moments that's costing us at the minute, isn't it? It was the same against Burgess Hill on Tuesday with the winning goal. And it's the same again last night. And obviously, we threw caution to the wind. We brought on quite a few players during that second half last night. But you've still got to have that discipline. It was only 1-1. There was an opportunity for at least a point, if not a win, maybe. But, you take that point given the situation with the defensive injuries and the changing the shape that I think absolutely threw us. But yeah, it's those individual mistakes, and you can't afford to have those, can you, if you want to go anywhere this season? We've seen it in previous campaigns, and if that continues, then there's going to be a few more evenings like that while players just aren't quite doing their jobs, unfortunately, in the dying stages of the game.
It's funny, within the first 5-10 minutes at most, John, one of the blokes standing next to, said it's like after the Lord Mayor's show. Straight away, that early into the game, you can tell we were not on it like we were on Saturday. And the second half, yes, Gary again must have said a few words of magic at half time, and it was one-way traffic until they got their second goal. But it just wasn't the same. We just couldn't open them up like we did Chatham. You're dead rightly about the double change. I've never seen that before. One team, in the first half, loses 2 players through injury in the same incidents, not 10 minutes apart or whatever, both going off injured at the same time. And Jack posted a photo of his leg, which his mum showed us before half time. A horrendous lump on his right leg, just below the knee. All right, we'd have run it off in the Sunday League, but it looked absolutely awful. And yeah, you're right, Lee. That was a problem for Gary to deal with. But I don't want to put Potter's Bar down. It was the ideal team to have that problem against, you would have thought, given their form.
Absolutely right. And the one thing I would say is that you're speaking about after the Lord Mayor's show. It's about application then, isn't it? If you can't get up after an amazing display and performance and result against Chatham Town, if you can't then go into a game like Potter's Bar at home, who only had 8 points all season up until that point, were rock bottom, then there's an issue there, because if you can't get up for that, then then something has to be looked at. Because when you get James and Bostwick coming off, what you lose is experience, but also height as well. Someone mentioned it behind us, Jake. We lacked height after they went off, and experience as well. But you look at their first goal. You've got Zane Banton, who's supposed to be back there marking the fellow who got the header in. You don't want Zane Banton anywhere near defensive duties, so that has to be looked at. We've lost Mariappa, Fifield, Bostwick now, James, all good headers, all staunch, experienced, tall men. Kieran Gauthier struggled again, but again, I think that's probably down to more circumstance. He's playing with a untested, untried back line there. It was just problem after problem, and I thought we did well. As I said, we did the hard bit in getting back into the game, fellas. And as you say, Dave, you would have thought, we could have had enough there to go and kick on and possibly get the 3 points. But Jake, a point wouldn't have been the worst result in the world, really, considering how the game panned out. But even that, fellas, we somehow, yet again, let ourselves down. And we were found wanting, boys.
It was interesting that you're saying about Banton back. You don't want him there. After Burgess Hill's 4th goal, late winner last week, a couple of players were shouting at Leo Sery, blaming him for not picking the man up. It was not his man, no way. And also, Leo Sery should be him and one other up on the halfway line, taking 3 and 4 defenders out of that, or 3 or 4 of the opposition players out of our penalty area and reducing their attacking threat. That is a tactical error by the club, by the management, or whatever, the players themselves, whatever. We brought it on ourselves, and when we get in the box, we think we got numbers, so players switch off. That's what it appears like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Well, if you don't agree with me, I might as well go on. But
there was, we haven't touched on it yet. I mean, there was, should Potter's Bar have had a man sent off?
Oh my God. Oh. Yes,
Number 5, William Oduwa, I suspect you mean, who got booked in the first half when he fouled Leo Sery. And yes, it did look a bit suspicious. And I think Potter's Bar felt the same, didn't they?
Well, they quickly took him off, didn't they, afterwards? But what we say is, behind the goal, obviously committed the foul. He immediately ran as far away he could from the referee. And once the referee gave him a talking to, he turned round and started laughing at all the Saints fans, Mr. Oduwa. So there you go. So I think that's about as guilty as you can get. So, yeah.
When it happened, I thought early on the referee went for his card. I may have read it wrong, but I'd love to see a camera on him from the time the incident happened. And I thought, well, he's off, and people were shouting for him to go. Yeah, he's going to go. And that he didn't was quite incredible.
I got a message this morning, and it was a case of the referee got played like a fiddle, because the fact is that he just didn't really know what to do with himself, did he? And the decision making was suspect at best, but not to give what was blatantly a second yellow for their player. You know, it was just bewildering, and we were all just head in our hands, just could not understand. And he knew, the bench knew, so literally within 30 seconds he was off. And the referee had, you know, I'm not putting this on the referee for the entire game, but in that moment, that instance, he had a shocker.
Right, referee was Joshua Evans. I thought his decision making during the game was actually pretty good. I've got no qualms about the way he controlled his decision making during the game. That one he got wrong, undoubtedly. He got the free kick right, but he got the follow up bit wrong. What was a problem for him was Pottersbar's antics, which were, as I said earlier, absolutely shameful. Players lying down left, right, and centre. Sammy Moore will take the blame for this. He's got to. It'd be instruction from the management. It is not acceptable. You go to football to watch football, not to see this gamesmanship and the outcome ruined by people not wanting to play.
Who was their keeper, Tabs? Who was their keeper?
Their goalkeeper was Fred Burbage. Now, his antics was shameful.
What a shithouse. I mean, come on. It was just seriously. I mean, he loved it. I mean, I've never, I mean, it's almost beyond comical, isn't it? And I know this is going to, it's going to really irritate you, Dave, but I mean, some of the play acting, especially towards the end when he claimed he got smacked in the face after Leo Sery went and got the ball back or whatever it was, just absolute comical. I mean, they were doing it. He was time wasting, but about 20 minutes in.
Yeah,
I mean, he came there with a real mindset as this is what we're going to do, disrupt their tempo. We know City like to play fast, get it out, and as you say, spread the play and really sort of, turn on that screw. They did the exact opposite. They did a number on us in terms of that element, but the way they go about it, mate, Jesus Christ, disgraceful, really.
He should be embarrassed, but he won't be, Fred Burbage. He won't be embarrassed of the slightest. But you mentioned his antics with Leo Sery. All Leo Sery wanted to do was get the game going, get the ball, get the game going again. And the referee should have supported that. Instead, Burridge goes down. Magnificent recovery. What a hero. What an absolute hero to get up from back. First we think he's injured down there. Then, oh no, I think it's my head. You make it up as you go along, Fred. We'll just play round you. And you're off the pitch. You might as well have carried on anyway.
It was like Lazarus, wasn't it? It's brilliant. It was.
And that's where the referee again got that one wrong. He could have been firmer on them to book Sery for that and not for a simulation. Berry should have been booked and should have already been booked for time wasting. He should have been off as well.
But you talk about consistency. If the referee has dinged that Sery's hit him in the face, then that's a red card. I mean, it's not. So why are you booking Leo Sery? It's bewildering. And I say, this isn't all about the ref, but the Potters Bar players, they made it very easy for him.
It was gamesmanship. He couldn't control, and it's difficult. Players go down. What can a referee do in the modern games? You can't carry on. In the old days, we did in the 70s. We just leave him down there, driving away. When the ball goes out of play, we drag him off to the touchline. Somebody chuck a sponge on him, back he comes on again. But now it's like you say, they go down and just stop the play, and it's just ruining the game as a spectator sport. They should be ashamed of what they did. They should be delighted the way they defended, but ashamed of the other tactics.
Jacob, come on, mate.
Put your foot in. Only echo. I think there was just a few moments, like there was obviously the lad went off, but the treatment for him seemed to go on for ages, around the hour mark, ages and ages. The physio seems to be playing his part by running on as slowly as anyone ever could run. And then, as I say, the keeper, just nonsense around that. And there was another moment when the keeper went down claiming to have been caught by a City player, and the ref just let him sit there on the ball for about 10, 15 seconds before he started his countdown. Like, what is honestly the point? It is just, the whole thing was ludicrous, and fair play to Potters Bar. They came there with a plan, and it worked for them. But yeah, and I think really rubbed it in when the keeper's celebrations, both after their second goal and at the end there. I think that really was.
Oh, Tabs, he was ticking, mate. He was absolutely ticking. And the more the game went on, the more irate he was becoming. The thing about Jake, you know where he's getting angry? Because he stays really, really quiet. And he's got a really big vein that goes on the side of his head. And it was literally, mate, it's got its own postcode, that thing. It's absolutely fantastic.
It was It was certainly an evening to forget, wasn't it, in terms of quality?
Yeah.
The City supporters behind the goal, they gave him a few presents after the game, didn't they? If he could catch them.
I'm surprised because those pints cost like £7 each. So, I mean, I'm not throwing mine away. Yeah, it was, I mean, to be fair, Jake spoke about his celebration towards the end there. I mean, it was only to be expected, really. People was like showing their discontent. Obviously, we don't condone throwing stuff onto the pitch, no. But you do that sort of thing in front of the City fans. Something's going to happen. So yeah, it wasn't great.
I don't think anyone is advised to be celebrating in front of the opposition fans, are they? So it's but yeah, all round, not one we want to repeat.
No. Right. The crowd last weekend, Burgess Hill 375. Last night, Potters Bar 658. So many people flooding in to take advantage of a £15 ticket. We've gone from the highest priced admission in the league of £18 to the joint highest of £15, which is an absolute bargain, isn't it? And people are queuing up to get in. They're queuing up to get out, I think, before the end. But it's a shambles. Is the club deceitful, dishonest, or totally incompetent? We had the issue in the summer. We were told it's going to be a slight increase in season tickets. Turns out to be 40%. Well, I'm sorry, that is deceitful and dishonest. No two ways about that. Then a panic measure. We get one really horrendous gate. Panic measure, gate admission price goes down, supposedly from £18 to £15, which of course is a kick in the whatsits for season ticket holders who showed loyalty to the club in the summer by putting their money up front, and now see people can do a much better deal by just going to the occasional game. It's a shameful mismanagement of a club, total mismanagement. They didn't listen to supporters in the summer, and their incompetence then is now trying to cover it with these reduced prices. And it hasn't worked for a gate like that. They're still very poor for a game last night. It's just not acceptable. As you know as well as I do, there were people last night we didn't realise till later on, but they got to the gate. They thought they were getting the discounted price of £10 for old fuddy-duddies and £15 for thriving youngsters like you two. And then they checked their phones later on their bank statements, and they've been charged a normal full price. How is that? Incompetence, dishonest, or I'll let you two sort it out?
I don't think it's dishonest. I think that is unfair. I mean, I had issues getting in because I bought a ticket for the initial match back in October, and I just assumed that would carry over to the rearranged game. Obviously, no. The turnstile operators were new. They were from Wembley Stadium, so they got those drafted in. And Jake was watching with much hilarity the fact that I was being sort of, kept to one side and being, accosted by all these stewards as I was going to run off anywhere. What I would say is that the people that were overcharged are being reimbursed. So all you have to sort of do is contact the club. I think there was an issue with the ticketing. I'm not trying to defend the club for their ticketing policy because it's wrong what they've been doing totally. But I think the fact they're trying to reduce the cost of coming to see the club is a good thing. Have they got it totally right and seamless? No, of course not. But I think there's an acceptance there that they were in the wrong, and whoever has implemented the reduction in the cost, Dave, must be at least commended for that token effort. Perhaps they could do more. They could always do more. Of course they can. They can always do more. But look, and the fact is, contact the club if you feel as though you've paid more, and they'll reimburse you. I think there are bigger issues to focus on at the minute. But
no, I totally disagree. It's a total contempt of tricky supporters. And by the way, you should get a refund because you would have paid a higher price for the game in October than it is now when it's on this special price. So you should be refunded there as well. And they should also send a refund. If they're going to do it for people last night who got overcharged, they got to do it for season ticket holders, pro rata for us for the rest of the season because you've taken us for a ride. to say, commend them for putting the price down. No, they screwed up in the first place. They're trying to cover their errors then by panic management now. We get one bad gate, so quickly put these down. We pretend it's a Black Friday deal. What a load of cobblers. And it is just panic management. There's no way to run a football club. They don't listen to the fans, and now they've upset them even more, unbelievably.
You're absolutely right. So I've got a message here, and I want to read it out because it's relevant. So, last night, I fear that unless you're prepared or able to put up and accept with what is going on at the club, then there's just not a lot of point in going. Just be disappointed with everything. And the fact of the matter is, yes, I paid whatever I paid, but I don't mind that. But it's not about me. It's about the people who can't afford to sort of keep doing that week in and week out. But a good idea is still a good idea, irrespective of how long the path that comes. And I think that there's an appreciation now from certain people within the club, unfortunately not those making the main decisions, that we need to address something. And Dave, what you've said, mate, is 100% accurate, and you are absolutely right in the way they've gone about this from day one. But it's day whatever we are on now, and yet too little too late in terms of some people's minds. Absolutely, of course, but you'd rather them try something, and even if they accept defeat in sort of doing it, then fine. But they've, at least they're trying to do something.
Match day programme last night, £3.75. The three of us are involved, been in programmes down years, even when it was voted the best non-league programme in Britain. I don't want to go on about it. And it's woeful. Our programme is woeful. But they were selling them last night. The Sport gets one. He comes up and shows me it's a programme for the October game. They hadn't been told when he bought it, but it was out of date. It was the old programme. They're charging full price and not telling supporters about it. That is not acceptable.
Hang them all. That's what I say.
Yeah, I'll go along with that.
Apart from the programmes, quickly, on the prices, I think, Dave, you have a legitimate point about season tickets, and that's certainly something that wasn't picked up, I think, in the communication that went out last week. What I will say is the communication on sort of social media has actually been quite positive to the news of the £15 tickets. So obviously there is some supporters that have sort of said...
because they're not season ticket holders.
Well, and also because I think a lot of fans didn't get season tickets this season because of the season ticket price.
Exactly. There we go.
It's almost like it's like a circle of this leads to this, this leads to this.
Yeah, it does.
So, and it has been a positive response from Saints fans. I think Saints fans are certainly hopeful that if it does improve, that if gates go up, then maybe this will be implemented for the rest of their campaign. But that doesn't take away from the thing about season tickets, which is a legitimate concern. And also it comes back to, Lee, you're hinting at, maybe if we just got it right in the summer, we wouldn't have to be doing this in December and January. And that's sort of, it's a problem. But I'm along the lines of Lee that on this specific thing, I think the club should be applauded. Not that everything about it is still correct or should have been talked about or mentioned or addressed in the announcement, because that wasn't clear. Got the issues with prices on the gate. Again, that wasn't clear what was going on there. And obviously, even if it was a mistake, fine, that's being resolved. But even some communication out today from the club to say, this happened, please get in contact. So
it wouldn't be a good idea from the club unless they balls it up somewhere along that sort of line. So, you've got to give them, it's understanding for that.
Incompetence. It was incompetence last summer, and it is still going on. They're trying to cover up for it, and they still got it wrong last night. Right, we've got this price. No, we're not going to tell you. We're going to charge you £18 anyway. See if you notice. I think unless anybody checks their bank statement, Lee, they won't get in touch with the club and get a refund.
Well, I'm sure there'll be a cheque or postal order winging its way to the Chilterns nowadays. But one thing I would say is give the club a chance to address it, right? I think that's important. If it happens again, then that is genuine incompetence. And I think that there's more foundation for us to sort of go in a bit heavy-footed. But look, the club have I wouldn't say they've misled. Supporters have been misunderstood about how this is all going to work, right? I think the turnstile operators, they're just doing their job. I know that a few of them got a few comments last night, which is unfortunate. But again, you want to take them out of the equation. You don't want to put them in that position where, you know, fans and operators are having a dialogue of any kind about it. The club are addressing it. Let's give them an opportunity to sort of do that. But if it happens again, then yeah, they're open to everybody wheeling in.
I love it. A club addressing its own incompetence. Oh, that's going to work out well, isn't it? Can't see anything going wrong there at all. Brilliant. Should we get onto a Twitter feed?
No, God. What I will say, one fact of this is, how many times this season have we talked about that on the pitch matters as well? And even last night, that performance and that result will, again, you need these prizes to try and get people in the gate. It's a hard time of year. Money is short for people. It's difficult. The weather's been rubbish lately. And if the football's still not delivering, then it's going to be a tough balance, isn't it, with the reduced prices? I just hope it works, because Saints fans do not deserve to be paying £16.50 or £18 a game at adult ticket prices and the related prices for concessions and people like Dave. They don't deserve that this campaign. They haven't from the start, and hopefully this goes some way to changing things. But people like Dave and club, again, supporter feedback is legitimate. Don't just block it and say it's not happening.
You know what's going to happen though, don't you? I think the worst possible thing is that they do these 3 games, and then irrespective of what crowds we get, I don't want to put them back it up to £18/16.50 off the back of the 3 games, because you've learned nothing. You've learned absolutely nothing. You've listened to nobody. You've done your own little sort of thing. If you're prepared to do this for 3 games, do it for the rest of the season. Because I don't know what the club expected. The opposition aren't going to have as many travelling fans in terms of the clubs that are coming to games now. So you've got to work around it. Okay, you lose a little bit of face, but you know what? Shit happens, and it's your fault in the first place. So let's work together, get the fans in, and then you can fleece them once they are in for £4 for a programme that's 3 months out of date or whatever it is, Dave. But, it's...
And what I will say is, there was one customer that came in last night, a friend of mine. He wanted to come this season, but he sort of flatly refused because of the ticket prices. But then once I told him £15, he suddenly, fine, I can actually just about stomach that for Isthmian League football or a local club. Whereas, there'll be a lot of more casual supporters that have just felt like that this season. So hopefully this change does help bring in some of them back, at least, over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with having a pipe dream, Jake. Nothing wrong at all. At least we are now the joint highest price now. We're not the out and out high. So that's wonderful.
For a few weeks.
Move on.
Right, but I'm going to have a go at a Twitter thing. I'm not going to go. I'm going to mention it. Apparently, the hashtag game has been moved to sometime in January, 20th of January. It's still on the Isthmian League site as this month, by the way. It's not on the website. Why is this news not put out on the website? It's outrageous. On the Twitter last night, didn't mention their substitutions. They got 1 of the 6 bookings. Didn't have the crowd. What's the point of it? If it's not going to be accurate, what is the point of it? And the website, the club's given up on it completely. There's no two ways about that. And the Twitter last Saturday, of course, as you know, the lineup it put out just 10 City players. Which is an interesting concept.
That's what we needed, mate. Brilliant.
Yeah. It's everywhere you turn, whether it's the secretary's fault, the general manager, the owners, whoever, someone is not getting a grip. There are just so many errors across the club at the moment, and they don't listen to the fans. Fans haven't got an opinion, and it's just embarrassing to see our club being run like this at the moment.
Still, great win at Chatham. That's the main thing.
How do you know you weren't there? I won't go on about the player we looked to bring in on loan last week, and his story on that is just incredible.
Well, you told it half of it now, mate. You want to tell the other half?
Well, let's not. Oh, God.
Come on, then.
You can dig into it yourself, but it doesn't do the club any favours.
Well, you've just waded in on it for the last half an hour, so another 5 minutes isn't going to hurt them, mate.
To be fair, I think we desperately need some players, whichever way they come and however that's achieved.
So are we getting a new player or are we not getting a new player?
Who knows? I think our club might have said you can go and sling your hook after the way we spoke to them, but there you go.
I think Gary McCann's interview certainly suggests we'll hopefully have some in for for Saturday's game, which we're about to preview, right, Dave?
Well, I haven't heard the interview yet, but someone has heard it and said Gary's hoping the director of football, I don't know if you mentioned the coach as well, of a scout, chief scout, looking to bring players in. And person who sent it to me, Andy, thanks very much. He's not exactly full of praise for the director of football, of a head coach. So Gary, you might as well go do it yourself, basically. But anyway, there you go.
Good.
And
So,
we're talking of Saturday, because we've lost Bostwick and James. I can't see James being back for certain. I don't know what Bostwick's problem was, so I didn't hear the interview. But those two are out. Zane Banton's also serving a one-match ban, stupidly getting booked for kicking the ball away last Saturday, a final day before the cut-off for 5 booking suspensions. So he'll be out Saturday as well, apparently. So it's 3 players gone from last night.
So we are literally going to be playing with sort of 10 men then, basically, on Saturday.
Right.
It seems like they're the only ones left.
Is Gary himself still suspended, or is he back for Saturday?
Oh, could you imagine? Jesus.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Well, we desperately need bodies, don't we? Whichever way they come in, we desperately need them before Saturday.
Fancy it, mate? Me and you at the back?
No, sorry, busy. Yeah, we need that cover, don't we? And obviously fullback, but also at least one centre half, because otherwise you do worry about Saturday's game.
Yeah, well, we're down on the coast again, aren't we? Ramsgate, 1 place above us, played 2 games more, 1 point better off. We've got a far superior goal difference, so obviously, like last night, nothing can go wrong. What's their current form? Nothing to get excited about. No, I'm not trying to look into this. Have you looked into them at all, Jake?
A little bit. They've got Lee Martin as manager, haven't they? And he actually started the season at Welling. They had a disastrous start to the season. He lost his job, and now he's gone to Ramsgate. He seems to have done an all right job, actually, so far. They've got ex-Saint Ian Gale. Great to see Ian again. But it's almost feels like the Saints are a different side away from home than they are at home at the minute. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised, obviously depending on players, that we go there on Saturday and might play some quite expressive, quick football. That could easily cause similar problems to what it did for Chatham. Because if you take that same approach from that Chatham game, I don't see why we can't create a similar result or similar display against Ramsgate. I might be far too optimistic. I feel like Lee's trying not to laugh at me. But I don't see why not. Obviously, I think a lot of it is Gary's got to try and drag these players back up and get them into the right mindset ahead of Saturday's game.
It's funny, Jake, actually, their last home league defeat was against Welling United, which is sort of ironic. And you mentioned our home form there. In recent years, it's been really poor. Then under Ian Culverhouse, he actually steadied it. Although a lot of them were draws, the run of defeats under Ian was minimal compared to what we've got. And now here we are again this year. He's starting to fall apart again at home. With the gates we're getting, all right, the last 2 haven't been great. We should be doing a lot better at home, and performances away from home do seem better, funny enough.
So are we going to win Saturday? What's your prediction?
Let's go and build a sandcastle on the beach, I think. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games unbeaten. Before that, we lost 5-0 at Aveley. Well, Aveley's a dodder. We go there and we can never get beaten. So, I don't know. Do you want to go first, Lee?
Ramsgate. Kent. The stench of gammon in the air. I think I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
Gammon? What do you got gammon in Kent?
Yeah. What do you go for? 2-2?
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, there's going to be goals in there, isn't it?
Yeah, 3-1 Saints. Come on.
3-1 again. You've gone for a goal conceded. You've both gone for a goal conceded. Last time we did not concede a goal in the league. 23rd of September, the 3-0 win over Lewis. Quite a record, isn't it? Ramsgate. We're going to win. Away day success again.
What are you basing this on, fellas? I've got to say. You were both there last night. I saw you both.
Well, you're looking at our squad. There's no defenders to come into that squad. They're not going to use the under-23s. Well, we fobbed most of them off last week as well anyway. So he's got to bring players in this week.
No defenders, and we're now going to go to Ramsgate and win. I love this. I love this mentality.
So I think 3-1 win of Jake. No, we're going to go 2-0, but which isn't going to happen. But reminds me about players gone out on loan. So George Shippets has gone out on loan. He's on contract, so he can go out on loan. He's gone back to Hayes and Yedding, his former club. But the two others we put out, I think, was it Joe Beard or was it Bone, whoever it was, I can't remember. Might have been Bone, James Bone, and Gabriel Ward. It says they're out on loan. Well, unless they're on a contract, they can't go out on loan. They can only go out on dual registration, which means effectively there's a fair chance they could leave the club. So I suspect those two are on dual registration, not a loan, but the detail from the club is questionable.
How did we get here from Ramsgate?
We're looking at a squad for Saturday. Pay attention, for goodness sake.
Good. Anything else, Dave? I feel like we've made people suffer.
Don't encourage him, mate. For the love of God.
Yeah, 20-2. Time for a late lunch.
Yeah. Lee, anything else?
No, I'm good, mate. Thank you. I think that's
excellent. Podful Estates on Twitter.
Yes. Well,
go on, Dave. Oh no.
Well, just any supporters thinking next week we're at Billericay, because they're probably looking at the club website and waiting for news and think we're going there. That game is off because they've got an Essex Senior County Cup tie. We've got this nonsense of County Cup ties coming before league games again, and I thought we got past that problem. But there we go. So you got a free Tuesday next week, so you can brace yourself for next week's pod. And
I think a free Tuesday, most importantly, for Gary McCann and the squad, hopefully. So, Podful Saints on Twitter, email in the description below, get in contact. We thank you all for your comments and replies and everything on the social media. Really appreciate it. And your views and listens. And we will speak to you again next week after another glorious Saints away win, right? Right. Goodbye, everyone. Come on, you Saints.